Can't Sit With Us podcast with your host, Mother Delamort, Akad Norman, and Hexus Diamond.
I still have not fixed that.
I have not brushed my hair all day, so this is happening.
I haven't did a video about tacos for Raz, nor have I fixed the intro.
You're killing me, man. It's like I don't even exist, man.
Who are you?
I don't know. So
Who yo is?
Now my brain right now is doing the no burritos, just tacos, no burritos, just tacos, no.
And then I just totally spun out into taco flavored kisses from Cartman on South Park.
Taco flavored kisses for my beanie.
Taco.
Taco, burrito, taco, burrito.
No joke, my ex-wife is Cuban Puerto Rican, and that was her ringtone when she would call me, and she hated it so much.
I had what song was famous by Fergie?
What you gonna do with all that junk?
I had Fergalicious as my ringtone for the longest time. At the time, I was like real big about like tucking my pants into my Doc Martens and stuff like that, my 14-eye Docs, and like wearing my spiked leather and all their stuff. And then all of a sudden, you would hear coming from my inside pocket of my leather.
Oh man!
Fergalicious definition, make the boys go loco.
I think though the one I used for Michelle is that song from Critters, "The Power of the Night," because that was the first thing. Our first big like overnight date was like we spent our first overnight at my old apartment, and we watched the whole Critters, all all 5 of them, and like that song is just now like our relationship song apparently now.
That's rad.
It's
Leonardo
fantastic.
DiCaprio's first movie was the third Critters.
Wait, was it third? No, yeah, third. You're right. There's 4. There's 5 now, and a TV show. But at the time, there was that's the third one.
And my favorite one is the 4th one, where they're in space. Seriously.
Yeah, so it's a movie. It's a movie about things from space that isn't actually in space until part 4.
I know, right?
Okay.
Killer Tribbles.
Basically, or Furbies. You know that works.
Furbies.
We housed one of those things in the 90s in our attic for years, and I went to throw it away, and it started going, and I'm like, I can't throw this thing away. It's talking to me, so it went right back up in the attic.
So I learned some weird shit with Furbies. So you can actually take like a set of headphones and like attach it to one, like to where like it's like mic in where it like learns all its sounds, and play really terrible things on repeat, and then hide them in people's like closets and under their beds and stuff. Amazing things. Like you can prank people so hard with those things, man. It is amazing.
That's like our Teddy Ruxpin idea, Akad.
I'm telling you.
Okay.
Somebody said that they were going to send me a Teddy Ruxpin. I think Nadine, was that you, or I don't know. Okay. When I send you my the shirt, you can send me the Teddy Ruxpin.
Man, I had a very terrible experience with one of those when I was a kid.
To him. Sorry.
No, like I had a traumatizing experience with one of those as a kid. Like that led to my mother burning it, like setting it on fire in a trash can. And like I wrote a story about it and everything. It was terrifying. I hated those things, man.
I'm sorry. Okay, it's Mama's. She's so glowing right now, so happy, and everything with that. And all I see is we had to do terrible things to him.
Terrible things to him.
So.
Sorry, I can't remember. It's hilarious.
I don't even know if we're going to even get into our subjects tonight, but
We didn't even announce ourselves.
Subjects.
Oh, well, hey, look, I need to make an announcement, okay? So I started to do research on what we were talking about tonight, and I completely went down a completely different rabbit hole.
Rabbits, bunnies.
Hey, it's okay. I'm wearing a tinfoil hat.
It's the Epstein Dean Coral connection, okay? I mean, who can resist that?
Is this the?
I've heard this rumor as well, Stephen P. Kitty Cat. He says, I heard a rumor that Epstein didn't kill himself.
No.
I too.
Well, that's what my vegetable soup told me.
Have you seen the one with Missy Elliott? It was like, is it worth it? Let me work it. I flip the thing, put the thing down, flip it and reverse it. And then backwards it says Epstein didn't kill himself. I was like, that is the best thing I've ever seen ever. Actually, the best one is It, like Pennywise. Mm-hmm. And it's all Pennywise is all, is it worth it? Let me work it. I put my thing down, flip it and reverse it. And it's all like
So should we start or should we just
wait, we didn't start yet? I thought we started.
Right.
Tonight we're talking
Hello, Friday Blue again.
Hello, Jenny. We were doing our tinfoil what do we call the last episode? The tinfoil hat edition.
I have a lava lamp I can put on my head.
I know. Here,
my antlers are off, the tinfoil's on. I do have alien googly eyes if you want them.
No, I'm good.
I mean,
do you have anything I can stick on my head?
I got a gas mask I can put on. I mean, there's a bong attached to the gas mask, but I think it'll work.
You can wear it.
That's like the body bag. That's like the body bag my brother gave me for my 30th birthday with a card that says, "Damn, you're getting old."
Yeah, that's awesome.
Body bag.
There's a real life body bag. Yeah.
They're surprisingly comfortable, I'll admit.
So if we ever need a body bag, I have one. An official body bag.
So tonight we're talking about, well, the connection between Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein.
We got a lot of the generic notes here.
So, okay. I mean, you guys, most of you know this story. It really started like a few years ago. Like
it started.
Wasn't that a story about a lovely lady who was bringing up 3 children of her own?
Yes, on a dark and stormy night, and the captain said, "Raz, tell us the story."
They weren't really her own, and they were stolen. And Jeffrey helped to find new homes for them.
So instead of the Brady Bunch, it's the Epstein Bunch. That's where we're going with. Okay.
Yes.
So just a little bit of a rundown. Jeffrey Edward Epstein was born January 20th, 1953, and died by suicide August 10th, 2019. He was an American sex offender and financier.
He didn't even say American citizen. That's how pissed the FBI and the feds were at him.
No, he's an American sex offender.
Well, even the serial killers who have died, like Richard Chase and all them, they don't classify him as whatever they classify him as an American serial killer or citizen and all this other stuff.
I have never seen it say that.
Mike?
No, I have literally never seen it say that.
I have.
And I'm the one who reads all the notes.
And I'm the one who collects the notes.
Click.
Mute.
His partners would be Ava Anderson and that dumb bitch whose name I can't pronounce, but
Ghislaine.
Maxwell.
Just say Maxwell. Madam Maxwell. We'll just call her Madam Douche Canoe.
She was the one who was
Madam Maxi Pad.
Madam Tampon.
She was in the room with him and actually participated. No Tampon. Joke.
Yeah, no,
she
totally.
Actually participated with it. She was part of it. She was there. They actually think he got the idea from her on how to do this stuff.
She was in fact a madam. I'm not fucking around when I say that.
No, she was fucking brutal.
So Epstein
is brutal. I'm sorry, she's still alive for now.
Epstein was born and raised in Brooklyn, and he began his professional life by teaching at the Dalton School in Manhattan, despite lacking a college degree. After his dismissal from the school, he entered the banking and finance sector, working at Bear Stearns in various roles. He eventually started his own firm. Epstein developed an elite social circle and procured many women and children. He and some of his associates then sexually abused them.
To give more backstory on this guy, Epstein was a mathematical genius. He absolutely was. And they suspect that what he really had was the FBI and stuff that were actually using him for that to fix the books, to actually find them more money and stuff like that. And he was very good at what he did when it came to mathematics.
Guys.
And we're getting more views here in a second.
Help! I need air.
Lies.
I can breathe. Okay. I'm not even drunk, guys. Wait, just a couple more sips. So here we go. I guess maybe we forgot a little bit of something, and I hope this works retroactively, but under the fair use, another author may make limited use of the original author's work without asking permission pursuant to 17 U.S. Code 107, certain uses of copyrighted material for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, including multiple copies for classroom use, scholarship, or research, is not an infringement of copyright. Also, trigger
good
warnings.
with that.
Oh, you want to know how good I got with that? The other day when I had to file a dispute, I did it from memory.
Wow.
You have to almost, man.
I typed it from memory. Because they won't let you copy and paste.
There's a way to copy and paste it, so I did it, and I put it in a Word file, and then I can just go copy paste it out of the Word file into the thing now.
It wouldn't let me copy and paste for some reason in that dispute. So that's what I did. I was like, I literally sat there. Under the fair use, another author may make limited use of the original author's work pursuant to U.S. Code 17. Pursuant to 17 U.S. Code 107. Sorry. Anyway, let's get back into this. And our dogs are freaking out. In 2005, police in Palm Beach, Florida, began investigating Epstein after a parent reported that he had sexually abused their 14-year-old daughter. Epstein pled guilty and was convicted in 2008 by a Florida state court of procuring a child for prostitution and solicitation of prostitution. He served almost 13 months in custody, but with extensive work release. He was convicted of only these two crimes as part of a controversial plea deal. Federal officials had identified 36 girls, some as young as 14, whom Epstein had allegedly sexually abused. Epstein was arrested again on July 6, 2009, on federal charges for the sex trafficking of minors in Florida and New York. He died in his cell on August 10th, 2019. The medical examiner ruled his death a suicide.
Wasn't there conflicting medical examiners though on that?
There were.
Talking about, yeah, I thought so.
Several. One of them got fired in the middle of the one that got fired was the guy that straight up said the what is it, the U-bone that holds his
hyoid.
That was crushed in or broken, and that only happens when you are strangled to death.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Yeah, well, the hyoid does actually break if you hang, but
he
it
wasn't
has
hung.
to be with force.
Yeah, it takes the force that they were saying that for him to do it, he would have
had to drop.
He would have had to drop, and the way he was suicided or the way he committed suicide, he was leaning forward like this. He didn't have enough force to do it.
There was no way the hyoid would have been damaged at all with the way that he supposedly killed himself. So,
well, and it was a whole hiding of information, like a lot of the platforms like to do now, hide the information until it's not relevant. Well, I don't want to say not relevant, but it's not fresh in people's minds.
Oh, yeah. Well, Epstein's lawyers have disputed the ruling. There has been significant public skepticism about the true cause of his death, resulting in numerous conspiracy theories. Since Epstein's death, let me move this over here, guys. Sorry. Since Epstein's death precluded the possibility of pursuing criminal charges against him, a judge dismissed all criminal charges on August 29th, 2019. Epstein had a decades-long association with the British socialite Madame Maxwell, the tampon, leading to her 2021 conviction on U.S. federal charges of sex trafficking and conspiracy for helping him procure girls, including a 14-year-old, for child sexual abuse and prostitution. Epstein also maintained long-term relationships with various high-profile men that I am not going to name because I don't feel like being suicided.
Well,
but one of them was Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, and that's how this ties into what we're talking about.
Right.
If we're going to be fair, honestly, like there's the connection between Trump and
I was
Clinton.
not going to say any of them.
Oops.
It's out there everywhere. Everyone knows that. It was
and they can look it up.
They can look it up. It was Trump and then Clinton's, and like again.
Okay, fine. Les Wexner, Bill Clinton, Alan Dershowitz, Bill Richardson, George J. Mitchell.
All these people. What I was going to say here is they were never really alone with Epstein and stuff like that. Same thing with the Clintons. It's hard for Bill Clinton to be alone with him because even after he was president,
there were pictures of him all over the place. But yeah,
he had Secret Service with him at all times. It's one of those things. It was just impossible for him to be alone with him.
Okay, so now I'm trying to find where our notes are on, without going into all these fucking investments in the video recordings.
Yeah.
Where are the rest of our notes?
And dead air.
Guys, talk.
Kill.
But
and we're talking.
I don't have the stuff.
We're talking.
So there I was, face to face with a bear.
You might actually want to just go into Google search and type in the Prince whatever to find it. It's not in there.
Here's my little side joke while we're waiting.
I will say, talk about the connection though. What I did read before I went down that complete other rabbit hole was the fact that Prince Philip did wind up pretty much, bringing Andrew down a peg, quite a few pegs, I should say, because even before Epstein suicided himself, he felt that it wasn't a good look for the royal family and put them at risk. So
He can't.
I'm sure there was a lot more going on there. I mean, just that's kind of a logical assumption.
Well,
you were completely right.
The girl that he was talking to or did stuff with, he actually paid her out. And I think even now with King Charles, like he is not allowed. He's not giving him any titles and stuff like that. He's basically.
No, but he has shown up. He has shown up since the death of the Queen, though.
He has.
Yeah.
But he is not allowed to have titles. He is still going to be taken care of as a royal family because I guess he's not getting in trouble. But
it's Prince Andrew.
Yes,
not Philip. Let me just clarify.
No, Philip was his father. Philip was the one that pretty much kind of disowned him.
Yeah. That was all. It's not Philip, I promise. So here we go.
And the payout, I believe, was all in wooden nickels, if I recall correctly.
IOUs.
What else are we going to do with it at this point?
13,000 IOUs?
Yep.
13,000 IOUs, guys. Hey!
It's the magic number.
3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30.
Now I got the theme song for Rey Mysterio stuck in my head.
All right, so Prince Andrew and the Epstein scandal. Actually, there's an episode on BBC's news and current affairs program Newsnight on BBC Two, and it was on November 16th, 2019. It was a 58-minute program with Prince Andrew being interviewed by Emily Maitlis about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Andrew's responses in the interview received negative reactions from both the media and the public. In May 2020, it was announced that he would indefinitely withdraw from his public roles. So, let's see. The Duke was also criticized in the media after his ex-wife Sarah Ferguson disclosed that he helped arrange for Epstein to pay for 15,000 pounds of her debt. He had been photographed in December of 2010 strolling with Epstein in Central Park during a visit to New York City. In July of 2011, the Duke's role as trade envoy was terminated, and he reportedly cut all ties with Epstein. On December 30th, 2014, a Florida court ruling by lawyers Bradley J. Edwards and Paul G. Castle alleged that Prince Andrew was one of the several prominent figures to have participated in sexual activities with a minor, later identified as Virginia. I feel bad saying her name, but she is an American Australia.
Say her name at the time. I know she's changed her name since then.
Yeah,
Virginia. I can't pronounce it. Giuffre. Giuffre? Maybe.
Giuffre, maybe.
So she was allegedly sex trafficked by. I'm not going to say allegedly because she was sex trafficked by Epstein. At the time, she was going by
say that
Virginia
because he was
Roberts.
suicided before he could actually be found guilty or innocent.
Yeah.
Right, for legal reasons, probably, yeah. But you said a word that, like, every time I hear it, like, I don't know, man, the word Duke. That's a fun word to say and hear. But I immediately think of that old song, the Duke of Earl.
Duke of Earl.
Duke. Yeah, like that. And, like, you know, so are we talking, like, Duke of Earl, Duke? Are we talking about, like, Dukes of Hazzard? I mean, there's a lot of famous Dukes out there in the world.
We're talking the Duke of Edinburgh.
I know, I'm just...
Duke of York!
Listen, this is my color commentary, damn it.
So... what did I sound like, Shorzy, right there? So, yeah.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
so-
Yes, so. We've got a good team that just says it.
Just crying because the Canadian national anthem.
If I was Canadian, I cried during the American national anthem every time. I get it. I understand.
Yeah, but like, listen, Canada's got two national anthems. You've got the national anthem and then the song for the, what is it? The Royal Canadian Kilted Yaxman. That's their other... they're both sad. And they both bring tears to my eyes. Like, they're powerful.
The thing that I actually really do like... My family... I have family from there. And it's kind of cool when you get to hear them blend the English and the French version of the like, because they do one verse in English, one verse in French, one verse in English, one verse in French.
Mm-hmm. That's my whole retirement plan, is to literally move to Canada and just live in the woods and just disappear and be like the next famous cryptid. Like, you got Bigfoot, and then there's like the illustrious Raz. Just
I would totally be down to move to Moose Jaw in Saskatchewan.
Let's do it.
Is there a Moose Knuckle?
Or Medicine Hat.
Is Moose Knuckle near Medicine Hat?
Listen, I got a lot of friends down there, a lot of awesome friends in Canada. Like, we could all hang out with and shit and, like, just explore the wilderness and do some rafting and canoeing and chilling. But, like, my favorite part about Canada is I can just, well, yeah, Letterkenny, but I can just call a store and they will just drive copious amounts of marijuana to my front door. And that sounds very appealing to me. Like,
I feel like we need to move to Ontario mostly so we could talk shit to the Degens in Quebec.
I also like the Canada area, which is like called that area of Canada that's like right at the border, like near Ohio and Michigan, which is like right where I live, kind of. So like that's Canada right there because it's like too close to America. Yeah, that's a fun area too, man.
A lot.
Me?
Yeah.
Yes. You.
I know. I've said it so much on purpose that now I just call it Canada. That's it.
Same. I screwed my friends too much, and now I just say it all the time. Yeah.
No, I have family from Moose Jaw and Medicine Hat, so that'd be kind of a cool place to go visit.
Yeah, man.
I still want to go. I want to visit Moose Knuckle.
Dude.
Also, I freaked out some Canadians by saying Saskatchewan properly.
You know what we should do? We should all get together and like do this like road trip, right? We'll get like an RV, hang out. We'll go down there. We'll go down to Canada. We'll do a podcast, and we'll all get turned into walruses.
I'm down.
All right, back on track here.
I don't know. The last time that I went to Canada, we went to the French side.
I have Duke of Earl stuck in me. Montreal and like
Montreal, yeah, and Quebec. They were mean.
Quebec.
They were what?
Yeah, the French side's
They
mean.
were
Sorry.
mean.
Quebec.
The English
Quebec.
side is passive.
That's because also because you're American. That's probably why they were. They got a lot of reasons to not like Americans.
Yeah, they do.
They got a little irritated with me because like we were shopping and I went in some shop and
they say
would all
bonjour
start
and you're like
talking
hi.
to you. Well, they would start talking to you in English. And like, and I understand. I mean, if you're used to talking your native language, then that's what you're going to revert back to when you're not thinking. But they would all finish the sentence in French, and I'd be like, I don't understand.
Just look at them and go,
they would get upset.
I have no idea what's going on right now.
You're all, what? So at one point in my life, apparently, I don't remember it, but at one point in my life, I did speak French. When I was young, my grandfather, being from Canada, they had started teaching me French.
Mm-hmm.
So I just know a little bit of stuff. And then they had me watching that Mosi. I don't know if you know what Mosi is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Pepito, the bad egg.
Huh?
Pepito, the bad egg. From Madeline.
Yeah,
I love Madeline.
Madeline's awesome.
We bought
he was the bad hat. That's what it was. Not the bad egg, the bad hat.
Yeah, the hat. Yeah.
We bought this book. Like, we went to this really rad thrift store. Actually, it was called Rad. And I saw a Madeline book, and I was like, I have to have it. It was $1. So we have it.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah. All I really remember from, like, Mosi was, like, Je suis l'envie. I am a little girl.
I can say baguette.
I can say,
oui, baguette.
Yeah, basically what I got is bonjour, comment allez-vous?
It's hard because I grew up learning, 2 languages, American English and Raz, and like when I speak in my own native language, people get very confused off, and I find that it's difficult to have 2 languages frequently.
We live in California, so the state languages are English, Bad English, and Spanglish.
Is Epstein one of the languages? I'm just curious.
He is actually. Okay, so in order to speak Epstein, you have to go through this really weird ritual. That first you have to watch like 18 episodes of Smallville. That's how it all starts, and then.
Wait. Actually, Allison Mack was involved in another sex cult. That would be next.
Correct. Yeah, that was a separate one. But I just felt that we were, moving that. I'm working on it. Damn it! Leave me alone. You know how hard it is to do color commentary with a subject like this, man? Like, it's difficult. I'm putting overtime here.
Oh, here we go. Virginia, then known by her maiden name Virginia Roberts, asserted that she had sex with Andrew on 3 occasions, including a trip to London in 2001 when she was 17, and later in New York on the Little St. James, Virgin Islands. She alleged Epstein paid her $15,000 to have sex with the Duke in London. Flight logs show that the Duke and Virginia were in the places she alleges on the sex tape. When the sex tape or sex happened, rather. I was speaking French.
I could not tell the difference. My apologies.
Andrew and Virginia were also photographed together with his arms around her waist, and an Epstein associate, Madame Tampon, Maxwell, standing in the background. Though the Duke supporters have repeatedly claimed that the photos are fake and edited and whatnot, Virginia stated that she was pressured to have sex with Andrew and wouldn't have dared to object, as Epstein, through contacts, would have had her killed or abducted at the least. A civil case filed by Virginia against Prince Andrew later settled for an undisclosed sum in February of this year.
Mm-hmm.
In August of 2019, court documents associated with a defamation case between Virginia and Madame Maxwell revealed that a second girl, Johanna Sjöberg, gave evidence alleging that Prince Andrew had placed his hand on her breast while in Epstein's mansion posing for a photo with his spitting image puppet.
His what?
Okay.
So Spitting Image is a British satirical television puppet show.
Oh, I was like an actual puppet of him. That's a spitting image of him.
It is. It's a satirical show created by Peter Fluck And
It's Pinocchio's cousin.
Yeah, so basically, it's a series that's been running since like 1984.
So like, you know how Pinocchio's nose grows when he like lies? I'll just say that it's not his nose.
Yeah, pretty much. So by the end of August 2019, the New Republic also established an email exchange between John Brockham, who, if you guys don't know who that is, he's an American literary agent, Brockman, rather, and
Brockovich.
author specializing in scientific literature. He established the Edge Foundation, an organization that brings together leading edge thinkers across a broad range of scientific and technological fields.
Who doesn't love edging?
Well, Hector has beer coming out of his nose now.
Who doesn't love edging?
Inhale the bread.
Actually, well, I mean, edging.
So, and the other person is Evgeny Morozov. And
I got nothing.
Evgeny Morozov is an American writer,
Just
researcher,
summon
and
the
intellectual.
devil?
Hold on. Evgeny Morozov is an American writer, researcher, and an intellectual from Belarus who studies political and social implications of technology. He was named one of the 28 most influential Europeans by Politico in 2018. And this email exchange happened from September in 2013, in which Brockman mentioned seeing a British man named Andy receiving a foot massage from two Russian women at Epstein's New York residence in September of 2010. He then added that he realized that the recipient of Irina's foot massage was His Royal Highness Prince Andrew, the Duke of York.
Wow.
It sounds like an ad on its own. Irina's foot massages.
Yeah, right?
Well, unless I'm not understanding anything, isn't that pretty much implicating himself of saying that he was there at Epstein?
Yep, totally.
Yeah, entirely, yeah.
Completely.
One of the things that so Andrew did so after everything really started coming out about Epstein, especially that 13 months that he was put into quote unquote jail, where he was actually able to he was able to go out and work for 13, 14 hours, 12 hours a day, but they really didn't watch him so much. They just let him go out there. And he just did whatever he did. I think Andrew actually showed up and they questioned him. They're like, why did you go to his house in New York, or his place in New York? And he actually said to him, he's like, oh, I just went over there to end our friendship and everything like that. And they're like, you could have just texted him. You didn't have to do any of this stuff.
Yeah, we're done, bruh.
But he regularly went to his house even after the fact. He was part of this, completely part of this, and completely got away with it.
And that's the thing about it. I mean, and again, because I went down this rabbit hole, it just really makes things seem a lot more connected. But one would have to ask themselves about an international child trafficking organization.
Right.
With this,
I mean, you have people coming from all over the world that and people being shipped to different areas of the planet. It's not a far stretch to talk about an international child trafficking organization that has some very prestigious members.
You have
definitely.
I just thought of Family Guy when Meg gets kidnapped, and Stewie goes to try to rescue her, and ends up like doing the California girls are so incredible. Like trying to, and like the bidding keeps going up and up and up and up.
You have, with what Epstein was doing, it quite literally was a human trafficking pyramid scheme.
Oh yeah,
that's exactly what he was doing, and that's what he was doing with the girls. And he would get these girls, and he would have them. And he's like, okay, now I got you here, and you've done. I've basically raped you or did whatever. And they were also victims of abuse in their families or whatnot. So he was very much a victimizer. He could actually see these things coming. He would then tell these girls, you have, can you get more friends to come along? And the more friends you get, the more money I'm going to pay you.
Well, it's the same thing Kate Rainier did.
Well,
with
and that is a
Nexium.
theme. That is a theme with a lot of child pornography rings,
Yeah.
child trafficking rings, especially. And this is getting into like some of the stuff I was listening to, especially coming out of the 1970s. The 1970s being that was kind of the height of the. I mean, we all think of the 60s as the height of the sexual revolution, but it was really kind of just the start. The 70s were really, I mean, if you think about it, that's when, I mean, everything was about sex. I mean, I remember the 70s. Everything was sexualized. Everything was about sex. All the movies were like some sort of exploitation, whether it was horror exploitation or what have you.
Exactly.
You know, it was all that kind of thing. But the thing being is Epstein himself, if you look at how he did all this, how he set up his island and all this kind of stuff, he's a copycat. If you go back and you look at the North Fox Island that occurred in Michigan, in Lake Michigan, back in the 70s, and I think it was later tried to be prosecuted in the 80s, that island was set up exactly like, I mean, it was the original pedophile island.
You have with Epstein's Island, you had prior to anything coming out, you had the locals calling it that Pedo Island.
Yeah,
it was completely set up that way before anybody knew what was going on. The thing with Epstein is he got away with it for so long, had so much money, and it's obvious there was something going on there with the feds. The 13 months that he was out. Or he was in prison, but actually able to go and work. That was literally like a slap on the wrist, and like it was
completely.
What did you have on him? What did you have on these people? What was going on here? And it was he got away with it for so long that he became so brazen about it. Like he was showing up at airports with these girls, and it was very noticeably that these girls were very much underage, and he. This is the lifestyle that he had all the time, and it's sickening to think about. That it's very much that it's very much so that he was involved in a sex trafficking ring, an international one, and this is. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, and again, this is my opinion, and I am not a psychiatrist, but pedophilia in general, I mean, kind of the consensus, pedophilia in general, as far as the mindset of pedophilia, is a lot different than, say, killers or burglars or robbers, that kind of thing, to where some can tell you, yes, what I did was wrong. But in a lot of cases with pedophilia, what they are doing, they do not believe to be wrong.
No.
In a lot
and
of
that's
cases,
why you have these
they
idiots
seem
trying
to
to normalize it.
Yeah, exactly. And they consider the victims, they don't consider them victims. They consider them kind of accomplices, if that makes sense, in their mind. Right. Not actually what's going on, but in the mind of the pedophile.
They consider them lovers
that
they would come back for.
When it comes to pedophiles and stuff like that, from a lot of stuff that I've read, it's whatever. It's always people. Not all. The vast majority of victims of pedophilia do not do it, but there is that percentage of them. A vast majority of them, or not a vast majority. How do I say this? The people who actually do commit pedophilia and stuff like that are actually they were victims at one point in their life too, and then they started doing it to other people. They normalized it. They in a way that was the only way they were seeing attention, and it's not right in any way, shape, or form. But it's very possible that Epstein at some point, even though because the Epsteins, one thing I actually did learn, they were after everything came out, he still has his website and a lot of stuff on Epstein, the family and stuff like that, his brothers, their date of birth, it's all washed from the internet. And you can pay firms to do this. Well, to actually look up a lot of stuff.
Well, he had a lot of powerful friends too, that probably wanted to get as far away from him as they could, and I'm assuming probably cover their own asses.
And washing the internet of anything history with Epstein, like with his past, if there was anything going on, like where he was sexually abused, maybe by a teacher or something like that, and then he kept doing it to other kids, and then moved on to when he's an adult. Because it doesn't make sense. And I hate to say it this way, but it doesn't make sense that you are, you're worth $500,000 to almost $1 billion, and you have access to actual escorts and people who are part of the adult industry. You can actually, end up at the bunny ranch and own it after a weekend. But here you are picking up little kids, not little kids, teenagers and stuff like that, and then doing whatever you want with them across the ocean and stuff like that. It's insane to think that. It's like, dude, you actually probably were more than likely abused, but to actually look that up, it's not happening. You can't find it.
Well, I guess that would be with anything, though. Like whether it was like tendencies to kill, or tendencies to molest, or what have you. Like, there can be. You can take one group of people that have been through the same thing as another group of people. We don't know, not 100% sure, why some people decide to act on their tendencies and some don't. They can have gone through similar things, and whether it's nature or nurture, there's still some that act on it and some that don't.
And that's where I say the vast majority of victims of pedophilia, they don't. Yeah. You don't. Oh, sorry. The YouTube page came up right now. I thought I was hearing you, Natalie, for a second, but it was actually, a few seconds past. But I'm sorry. A lot of the vast majority of victims of pedophilia don't do it. They've actually sought help. They've done everything they can to stay away from it. It's insane to think.
Well, and the reoccurring thing that I keep running up on when I was looking into all this kind of stuff is the ones that actually do act on it and do really horrible things to children. They somehow seem to, I guess, try to justify it in their mind by saying it's a lifestyle choice, which in my opinion, that's bullshit. They're a predator, and you're preying on someone smaller and weaker than yourself with no concern of what you're doing to that person.
Can we just say real fast that anybody who says this is a lifestyle choice honestly needs to
be castrated?
They need to slather some barbecue sauce on a bullet and then go from there. If anybody knows what I mean here,
I'm gonna agree with you on that.
Right.
I'm gonna go further and say Lorena Bobbitt.
Well, I hate to get technical here, but people who have been chemically castrated or whatnot still keep doing it because it has.
It's not about sexual drive. It's about
It's something
imbalance. It's a weird.
I wouldn't even say it's. I don't know. It's something deep inside of them that they're fucking evil, and they honestly deserve. They deserve. Like
well,
I said,
and it's not always males. I mean, females are just
But for some reason,
look at Madame Tampon.
Oh, exactly.
I was watching something about the that teacher that I can't remember her name, but she was having an affair with one of her students who was like 13 or 14 or something.
Oh, the one who died of cancer after the fact?
No, the one that when she got out of prison, they got together.
That's the one. No, she died of cancer.
As adults.
She did die. She did eventually die of cancer.
She did,
but they got back together, and he stayed with her the entire time, I think.
But still, I mean, okay, maybe they were like he was like 16 when that happened.
No, he was like 13.
That doesn't make it better.
He was 13 when it initially happened.
An adult woman should never be attracted to a prepubescent boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just as adult men should not be attracted to prepubescent girls.
Exactly.
Yeah. Agreed.
Well, that comes into that whole mindset again of justifying and that this is a lifestyle choice, and that the victim, which they are, the victims are somehow, like your partner in crime, and that's because you have no empathy. You cannot understand what you're doing. And I don't think that's an excuse, because too bad. You can't understand what you're doing. You're
Well,
causing
they understand what they're
someone
doing.
to be hurt.
They just don't give a shit.
Look at what Epstein was doing with his human trafficking pyramid and everything like that. He was also grooming a lot of these girls. And a lot of these girls, one, in the back of their, I think a couple of them actually finally came forward where they're like, I feel terrible for what I did. But while it was going on, they just looked at, okay, I'm getting money out of this. And then they were abused by Epstein. And then they turn around and start abusing other victims by getting them to come in. That's grooming right there is what's going on here.
Well, and you see that a lot. You saw that in Dean Coral.
Oh, exactly.
Dean Coral did that. With
Dean Coral, he had a crew of people. And not to bring up Dean Coral, but I mean not to go off on that, but Dean Coral, the guy that shot him in the head, in killing Dean Coral,
Henley and Brooks. Henley was the one that shot him.
He just had to keep his mouth shut. He would have been he would have been seen as a hero, but he started talking. And I mean, right, I'm glad he did because they put both of them in jail. Brooks and whatever, they put him in jail, and it was like, okay, you actually, because your mouth, you are getting, people are getting justice and like that because you actually are going to jail for what you guys did too, because you guys were part of this, right?
And Henley and Brooks were completely honest with everything that went on. Once they knew they were busted, they were completely honest with everything that went on. And even Henley, when he testified, I think it was in court, if I have my information right, or maybe it could have been an interview with one of the detectives, basically stated that one of the reasons that he went along with this is because Coral stated that he was part of an organization out of Dallas that would kill Henley if Henley talked.
It's insane to think about too. Going to fast forwarding to even Henry Lee Lucas. Bringing up the cult. I know he was a confessions killer and stuff like that, but there is one weird correlation between him and Adolfo Constanzo, who was the guy who was using Palo Mayombe, and his whole cult was serial killers in Mexico, and they were killing people in ritualistic ways, do whatever they wanted to them in order to gain magical power. Well, that was going on when Henry Lee Lucas was actually in the 80s, when Henry Lee Lucas was captured. Even though Henry Lee Lucas, they said he was full of shit, but he did happen to mention the city in Mexico where that was happening, and it's insane to think about that. They turn around and were like, okay, this isn't actually happening, but how did this guy out of nowhere say, what do they call it, the hand of Satan or something like that? I think. And he mentioned that the city where Adolfo Constanzo was operating with for the cartels.
Well, so that interview that happened on the BBC's Newsnight, it publicly recounted. It was basically Emily Maitlis talking to Prince Andrew, as we know. He publicly recounted his dealings with Epstein for the first time. The interview was recorded in Buckingham Palace.
Wow.
On November 14th.
Jesus fucking Christ, man.
And broadcasted on November 16th in 2019. Prince Andrew said that he met Epstein in 1999 through Maxwell. This version contradicts the account given by the Duke's private security in 2011, who said the two met in the early 90s. The Duke said that he did not regret his friendship with Epstein, saying that the people that I met and the opportunities that I was given to learn either by him or because of him were actually very useful.
Can we pause right there real fast? One of the things that all the friends of Epstein, the especially the two big ones, Bill Clinton and Trump, they did cut their friendship off at a certain point.
Yeah.
Back then. But prior to that, there is tape of it, and I'm not trying to take any side here politically or anything like that, but
we don't get into politics.
There is tape of everybody who was associated with Epstein at the time in the 90s. All of them said, oh yeah, he's a great guy, great friend, all this other stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, so Prince Andrew denied having sex with Virginia on March 10th, 2001, as she claimed, because he said he had been home with his daughters after attending a party at Pizza Express in walking with his daughter, Princess Beatrice. The Duke said, and the reason I said, in Woking. Sorry, it's a location. I was kind of confused for a second.
Woking.
The
Wokening.
It is actually a town and borough in northwest Surrey, England, and it's about 22 miles from central London. So, the Duke said that he had no recollection of ever meeting Virginia, and that he had absolutely no memory of a photograph taken of him with both Virginia and Maxwell at the residence at Maxwell's residence in London. The Duke said he had investigations carried out to establish whether the photo was fake, but they had been inconclusive. He also claimed that he had never been upstairs in Maxwell's house and questioned his attire, saying that the clothes he wore in the photograph were his, quote, traveling clothes. That he did not wear while in the country.
Traveling to an island.
So wait. Were they footy pajamas with a butt flap? Because that's what I'm envisioning here.
Gimp suit? I don't know.
Stephen P. Kitty Cat says, didn't Andrew claim that the story could not have been true because he cannot sweat? His accusers claimed he was sweating.
It's that weird weird English lord stuff where they're like, well, clearly that wasn't me. I wasn't in the proper attire. It's you.
Okay, so getting into
look, that's morning tea, not afternoon tea.
I would never have crumpets.
Getting into Steve the Cat's
10 p.m.
Comment or question. Prince Andrew also added that Virginia's claims about dancing with him in a club in London while he was sweaty were false, due to him temporarily losing the ability to sweat after an adrenaline overdose during the Falklands War.
The adrenochrome.
You know, he had a really interesting defense prior to this.
Kind of like if the glove don't fit.
It is.
Apparently.
It is. His previous defense, he was shown a video of him apparently sitting on a counter. I'm not sure where it was, and when questioned about it, he looks at the video and looks back to the interviewer and says, "It wasn't me."
So it was a Shaggy defense.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
You go, man.
What is the definition?
He was on the counter.
What is the definition?
I even had her in the shower.
Attire. What is the definition of that?
So, okay.
It starts with a fancy hat.
Doctors told the Times they did not believe this explanation, as adrenaline overdose typically causes excessive sweating in humans. As has been previously said, that his mother, the Queen, has not been seen sweating in public, raising the possibility of inherited anhidrosis. Although
people.
this was not the explanation given by the Duke.
Lizard people.
Prince Andrew admitted to staying in Epstein's mansion for 3 days in 2010 after Epstein's conviction for sex offenses against a minor, describing the location as a convenient place to stay. However, he said, I kick myself on a daily basis for the decision because it was not something that was becoming of a member of the royal family, adding that he let the side down. The Duke said that he had met Epstein for the sole purpose of breaking any future relationship with him, saying that it was the honorable and right thing to do, adding that one of his flaws was that he was too honorable a person.
Okay.
He also said that if push come to shove, and after consultation with his legal teams, he would be willing to testify under oath regarding his associations with Epstein.
Wow.
If he would have said, look, guys, our family is way too inbred to sweat, I would have believed that. If he would have said that, look, guys, I bleed profusely if I get stabbed. And because we're so inbred, we can't sweat. I would have been like, all right, I actually could agree with that.
Yeah,
because
he has it.
The real family's really inbred.
What do you think's up with all the fucked up teeth?
But due to the war, due to the Falklands, bro, you did not fight one bit. It's no different than Prince Harry. You guys were given honorable like titles in the British Army. You guys didn't fight one bit.
I don't think I heard anything you just said after. If you stab me profusely, I'll bleed. Like that, just it short circuited my brain like so hard there. From I'm just like.
Well, this is actually going back to what is it? What's that disease they all have? All the royal members in Europe, they have
Epstein-Barr.
The Epstein-Barr virus. They're just exhausted.
Hemophilia.
That's what it's going back to. The vast majority of the royal people in the royal families all have that because of the constant
years
inbreeding.
and years of cousin fucking.
Yep.
And
my own grandpa.
possibly uncle fucking.
Yep. Shut your fucking face, Uncle Fucker.
Shut your fucking face, Uncle fucker. What was it?
I know that whole song.
Boner biting best of Uncle fucker.
You don't eat, sleep, or mow the lawn. You just fuck your uncle all day long. Shut
No one fucks uncles quite like you.
Uncle fucker, that's UNCLE.
Fuck you.
Suck my balls.
Suck my butt.
I can do that whole song in their voices. It's hilarious.
Yes. Okay, so the other day, I had this song stuck in my head, and I literally woke up with it in my head.
What song was it?
Honestly, I can't remember the exact song.
I thought this story was going somewhere.
Wait. But the funny part
The song that never ends.
I was sitting there, and I was like, fuck, what is this song from? And then I realized it was from Cannibal the Musical.
Was it the one we were seeing the other day where they blocked us because you were singing too much of it?
Did we get blocked?
I don't know. I think we got blocked for that.
Yeah. That was a while. That was like many episodes ago.
But no. It was a different one. It was actually a different one.
Okay.
But it was one oh god. See, now it's not stuck in my head, and I'm okay with that. But at the same time, it was one of the songs, and my brain was like, why do I know this song? Why am I singing this song? And then it hit me.
Why?
It was Cannibal the Musical.
Oh yeah, you said that.
It was.
Wait, I mean, there's multiple songs in Cannibal the Musical.
I know. That's why I'm so glad
It
you
was
guys haven't
everything-
figured it out.
It was like everything melded together.
just all of them running at once.
It was just all, you just woke up and you're all, babe, I have this song stuck in my head. I'm like, what is it? It was like, it's from Cannibal the Musical. Which song? You're like, it's all.
Yeah.
Let's build a snowman. No, you know what? You know what movie we all need to watch one night? Just we got to find a way to like share it for all of us. Is, Sergeant Kabuki Man NYPD.
Oh yes, please. I'm a big Troma fan, dude. Like if you can get a hold of the 20, I think it's the 20th or 25th anniversary.
I've seen that.
There is something.
Kabuki Man Sanjo.
I have a real fun fact here. Did you know that I make an appearance in a Troma film?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, I can't remember if it's the 20th or 25th anniversary. I'll look it up. I'll ask Lloyd. For the original Toxic Avenger, I was at a convention, and he wanted to know if he gave me the entire signed box set of the Toxic series, would I get on camera and say that the first time I ever masturbated was to the shower scene in that film? And I said, of course, Uncle Lloyd. And sure enough, it is in fact in the special features on that disc.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
there is a Troma documentary I want to see. It's on which serial killer? We covered him. The one from Missouri, the one that was he had
we
his
have
bizarre.
like that
Yeah.
to go right there.
Okay.
Okay. Go
Sorry.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, there's a trauma thing. Did this fall out again?
It doesn't go there.
It probably goes there though. Okay. Anyway, this is the aftermath. So, Meatless and the News Night believe that the interview was approved by the Queen. Although, why would it be?
Right.
Palace insiders speaking to the Sunday Telegraph disputed this. One of Prince Andrew's official advisors resigned just before the interview aired. And although the Duke himself was pleased with the outcome of the interview, reportedly giving Mathis and the Newsnight team a tour of the Buckingham Palace.
So he was patting himself on the back.
Right?
Wow.
It received negative reactions from both the media and the public, both in and outside the UK.
Right?
The interview was described as a car crash, a nuclear explosion bad level, the worst public relations crisis for the royal family since the death of Diana.
Hmm.
Now, it's interesting that they described it as a car crash and then mentioned Princess Di.
The British tabloids
Rub it
are
in just a
absolutely
little bit.
brutal. And
Does anyone else find... Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying the British tabloids are absolutely brutal, and they will look for any type of gossip. They are they are our National Enquirer, but
On roids.
on steroids, and all of them are like that, and they really hound the British royal family. But then again, if you actually look at it, that's how the British royal family stay prominent, not prominent, but in everyone's heads. I guess is the only way to say it.
I guess.
That's how they make money. It's almost like it's by design. It's insane.
So, Hannah Bardell, MP, recalled the interview as sickening and stated that Prince Andrew literally has no remorse or regard for the women abused and clearly does not see the problem with being pals with Epstein. The systematic abuse of power is unbelievable. The Guardian wrote,
that goes right back to it. That goes right back to, you know, they don't see what they're doing is wrong. In other words, the whole world is wrong. They're not.
Exactly.
It comes down to their status and the fact that Prince Andrew, honestly, he got a slap on the wrist. He did lose whatever he lost, like whatever title, but he's still being taken care of by the royal family. He's not losing money over this. He didn't lose any. He lost status, I guess you would say, but he didn't really lose anything else.
Yeah. The Guardian wrote, it was an exchange that summed up a grotesque mismatch between the Duke of York's language and demeanor and the gravity of the allegations which continued to surround him, between the obtuse self-absorption of a prince and what we know of the appalling sexual exploits of teenage girls by his friends. On November 20th, 2019, a statement of Buckingham Palace announced that Prince Andrew was suspended of his public duties for the foreseeable future.
They never gave a date, but they never said permanently either.
Yeah, they just said foreseeable future.
But, you know,
the decision made with the consent of the Queen was accompanied by insistence that the Duke sympathized with Epstein's victims. But we all know that's not true. In the days following the interview, Andrew relinquished his role as Chancellor of the University of Huddersfield. The accountancy firm KPMG announced that it would not be renewing its sponsorship of Andrew's entrepreneurial scheme, Pitch Palace. And Standard Chartered also withdrew its support. The palace later confirmed that Andrew was to step down from all 230 of his patronages.
Which is nothing. He still has his wealth. He still has everything else. Let's put this into perspective real fast. Is it Henry or Harry? He's second in line to the crown.
I am.
He's second in line for the crown right now, right? Or he's the next in line to become king.
William,
yeah. I can't think of who it is. But overnight when the Queen died and Charles moved up and he moved up, he became a billionaire. And this is how the royal family works. They literally just have they have wealth, and literally all they said was like, "Oh, we're just taking your titles away from you, and you're still going to have all this stuff. You still can freely move around." On the other hand, you look at Epstein. What happened to him? He got suicided. I mean, and it was all because he was no longer of value to the feds anymore.
Well, on January 28th, 2020. U.S. Attorney Jeffrey Epstein stated that Prince Andrew had provided zero cooperation with federal prosecutors and the FBI regarding the ongoing investigation of Epstein, despite his initial promise in the Newsnight interview when he said he was willing to help the authorities. In April 2020, it was reported that the Duke of York Young Champions Trophy would not be played anymore after all activities carried out by the Prince Andrew Charitable Trust were stopped. It was revealed in the next month that the trust was under investigation by the Charity Commission regarding some regulatory issues about £350,000 of payments to his former private secretary, Amanda Thirsk. According to The Times, senior personnel in the British Army and Royal Navy considered Andrew to be an embarrassment to the military and believed he should be stripped of his military roles. Newsweek reported that the majority of British citizens believed Andrew should be stripped of his titles and extradited to the United States. In May of 2020, it was announced that Prince Andrew would be permanently resigned from all his public roles over the Epstein ties. And in 2021, Sigrid McCauley, one of Virginia's lawyers, said that she believed the interview would strengthen the case against Andrew in legal action Virginia was taking against him. McCauley stated that the interview would be part of the investigation against Andrew. Oh my God.
You know what's insane about this? Oh, we got a bot!
Yes! And it's from Korea.
We got a bot
from
Korea.
Hi, Korean bot! Annyeonghaseyo!
Like you're not anyone until you've been botted at this point in time.
We've been botted.
And we've been botted by America, but
well,
Korea's the first one. So annyeonghaseyo.
Can we actually? Maybe it's not a bot. It's just that we just can't read the.
It's Korean and it says YT. And all I said was hello in Korean, guys.
No,
I'm not saying anything bad.
Okay. I noticed something here that the English still think of us as the colonies, and people can just be shipped over here and taken care of.
Isn't that interesting?
I think it's fucking hilarious knowing that if it wasn't for us, the English would be speaking German right now.
Well, let me ask you one thing, Akia. What was the date on that information that you're reading? Because I'm betting you it's a few years old and nothing.
2020.
No, 2022.
Really?
Nope, 2022.
I will be interesting to see if he gets more than a slap on the hand.
He's not gonna. He's already gotten his slap on the wrist, and that's that. He's not getting anything else.
So
the tabloids are going to keep coming after him for this because it's the family, it's the royal family, and that's what they do. But they're not getting anything else out of him.
So there's a band called the Cunts.
They spell it Kunts.
They published a song ridiculing Andrew's claim that he cannot sweat, and his claim that he was at Pizza Express walking
Pizza
with the title "Prince Andrew is a sweaty nonce." That's the name of the song.
Oh, we get him.
And this was made in this year, 2022. It's
see the picture of
satirical punk song by the Cunts. And it actually references his relationship to Epstein, his sexual exploits with children.
The best part is,
and it has a picture of him eating pizza while sweating.
The best part of this is the British punks are still British punks.
They're fucking great.
They're still fucking snotty assholes, which is amazing. I love it.
So
not like our punks have all the rules and everything now that you can't do.
You have to dress a certain way. You can't do things. You can't think differently than the rest of them.
How dare you have
Fuck
a thought?
off.
That confuses me.
Yeah, we were all snotty punks back then.
I was told all of us here were, I think.
I mean,
for fuck's sake, look at my makeup. So, in July of this year, it was announced that a film would be made of the preparations for the interview and the interview itself. Shooting was planned to start in November of this year, according to Deadline. Scoop is being written by Peter Moffat.
Huh. So they're going to make a
what is the movie about the interview or about what he was involved in?
About all of it. It's about what he was involved in, the preparation for the interview itself, the interview.
They need to have.
It's going to be a full tour, intentional satirical movie.
Of Buckingham Palace. They have to have a full tour of Buckingham Palace. I mean, that is rich right there. The fact that he was like, "Oh, here's my interview, and I didn't do this. Would you like to see Buckingham Palace?"
That's aristocracy for you. I mean, we've seen it all through history.
Well, 643624 to you too. Sorry.
I think he just took over our computer.
Oh, watch out.
If he puts up 8675309 and then puts up,
8675309.
we're screwed.
I mean, we did have a Jenny in here earlier, so I mean, it's on point.
Jenny, I got your number. I'm gonna make you mine. Anyway.
Did we just get Chinese nuke codes?
He was Korean.
Ooh.
Don't push
Korean.
the shiny red button.
Don't you dare say anything about Kim Jong Un or Il or whatever his name is.
Kim Jong.
Wow.
Kim Jong.
He
Badass.
doesn't-
I don't
he-
fucking
He
know.
doesn't poop.
No, he doesn't. Not at all.
Nope. No.
Not
Doesn't
one bit.
poop.
He is divine.
Some people are worried about defamation cases. He's worried about defecation cases.
That's basically all we have tonight.
Lies.
Oh well. Good night, Jenny.
Did we actually stop at an hour? Hour
Yeah,
and 10 minutes.
Hour and 10 minutes.
Well, we stopped with the Epstein stuff if you want to get into and how he died and all this other stuff.
Well,
but-
I mean, so basically, Emily Matlis won the Network Presenter of the Year award at the RTS Television Journalism Awards in 2020, while the interview was awarded as the Interview of the Year and the Scoop of the Year. The episode was also nominated for the News Coverage category at the 2020 British Academy Television Awards.
Huh.
Yeah,
Interesting.
so there's that.
There's that.
Yep.
There's all
Here's the
that.
thing.
Oh, yeah.
Aliens.
Yeah. So we didn't play commercials because it's a podcast.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
Raz, what were you talking about earlier
Again,
that you were gonna
Oh yeah. I mean, I mentioned it when we were live before, but I mean, might as well do it again. I wrote this.
Wow.
Yeah, I wrote this awesome story called Jimmy's Toys recently. Well, about a year ago, but I've been like getting it out there like lately, and it's about basically this fucked up toy store. Well, it's not really a fucked up. It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be a really nice toy store. It's really famous in Ohio called Johnny's Toys. That's sort of like what it's based on, and it's this magical toy store that has a birthday club. And when you sign up for the birthday club, you can go to this toy store and get a free gift, basically, up until the age of 12. And the story follows this young kid from Riverside, Ohio, where all my stories and novels take place, the town I actually grew up in. And he realizes that this is his last year that he's ever going to get to go. And he lives in a military town where you meet someone the next month, they could be sent somewhere else, they can be shipped out. So everything's always changing. And the fact that this is his last year means this final part of his childhood is just going to go away. So it's him kind of coming to grips with his life changing and his last magical trip to the toy store where something magical and disastrous both happens. And I tried this new sort of writing process where you can listen to this story or read it with like a 10-year-old kid. Like, it feels almost like a slightly more adult, like Goosebumps style story. But if you actually pay attention, like really pay attention to the details, there's a whole other layer of story happening beneath it that usually only the adults are going to kind of catch on to. So it's this whole weird double-layered version of writing that I don't know if... apparently people really liked it because they got picked up on the Chilling Tales Network, one of my favorites, with their show Fear from the Heartland. So not only can you go and listen to that, you go to raztslasher.com, raztslasher.com. Actually look through the section that says media. The newest one, it's September 28th. You can listen to that episode there. My story is the third story in the show, but I'm not going to tell you where it takes place, because I really want you to listen to the other author's stories, because they're really good. And I'm also putting out 2 different anthologies volumes with my friends over at Fakor. And Jenny, who was just in here recently, earlier today, and and again way earlier today. I met it with a lot of great people, and Jimmy's Toys is actually in one of those 2 volumes. It's the actually, I can tell you which one specifically that it's in, because I've already updated my website today because I'm fancy. It would be the one that's called Darkness Screams, Whisper Quiet. Features the physical copy, so you can listen to it and kind of listen along while you read it if you buy that particular copy. And I've got that all updated now on my fancy updated website. You'll find links to all kinds of awesome shit, like like what we're doing now. I actually have the PBDC link on there now that takes you to our website.
Just to let
Yeah.
everyone know, Raz,
Well, I'm gonna go check it out. I'm excited to hear it.
Raz
It's a fun
has
one.
Fancy pencils and pens and he writes fancy words, and I can't read. I'm just kidding.
And that is exactly why I have. Oh my God, there's a number of different stories on there. Again, if you go to the media section, there's 3, 6, 9. That was my 9th story that I've actually sold since. It looks like. Yeah, since like August of 2020, I've had 9 stories go out there and that have done pretty well. So like 9 different stories you can just listen to right there on the website. I've got a blog.
You hear this, guys? It's not 3 poetry books.
Yeah, it's not.
Books.
No, those aren't books. Those are just the audio adaptations. But if you want to talk books, I've got a novel and 13 anthologies you can pick up. Or if you do want some free shit, I'm a cool guy, so I'll offer you some of my free short stories right there in the blog on the page as well.
Well, let me bring this up real fast. Like one of the things that actually, how H.P. Lovecraft all of them got started. It's
His
literally.
cat?
Well, no, it's literally doing what Raz does right now. It's writing stories, selling them, getting them picked up, and then going further and further with it. You know, it's something that's super. I mean, it just popped in my head right now, and I think it's actually super cool that like that's just freaking rad that you.
It's still the market. Like that's what you got to sell yourself to. Publishers, listeners. You got to build your fan base, man, and it's a bitch because. Yeah, and I've been a writer for years, but I didn't really start marketing and taking it like extremely seriously until probably 2020. When COVID started, honestly, that's when I was like, you know what, I got time on my hands. I need to finally stop doing little things and make a wave. And literally all 13 of those anthologies, that's just since 2020.
Amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah, the only thing I had before that was just a book, which I completely had to rebrand because I got screwed over by a couple publishers. Decent people, just didn't work out. And the publisher I'm with now, again, Fakor, like, they wanted me to clean up this book to make it what I wanted it to be. Because, there's a lot of advice you get from publishers on, oh, you've got to cut this, you've got to cut that. And Patty at Fakor was just like, no, I need you to give me the story you want to tell, not the one the previous publishers made you tell. So the full extended version, I renamed it Silence is Crimson, put it out last Halloween. Parts 2 and 3 are going to be out next year. And every story I write or that you'll listen to all takes place in the same town. Everything. And starting with Silence is Crimson 2, you start seeing some of the other characters, you see a tie-in. And then I'm working on a short story collection called The Riverside Chronicles that ties in even more of these stories into the books and sort of the overarching world. And it's been nuts because now I have another new book coming out this December that's a children's book, an actual, like, little kids, horror kind of esque, like, children's picture book. And it's all about this little boy named Lincoln, who is scared of everything, but he loves Halloween, and he wants to decorate his house. So he's got to go and meet and talk to the monster under the bed and the one in the closet, the thing that lives in the basement, and the ghost that haunts his attic, and he's kind of got to overcome his fears. Yeah, it's so fun.
I would have loved a story like that when I was a kid. I love those kind of stories as kids.
Same here, and I thought, what can I do in this realm? I've been thinking about it for a couple of years. My publisher was like, listen, we want to put out a lot of books for Children's Book Week in beginning of December. You've been talking about this for a while. Do you want to do it? And then a really amazing artist, Stu Brown, who does a lot of artwork for like Chilling Tales, and the dude is just a killer artist. He messaged me immediately and said, "Hey, man, like, I would love to, I've got young kids. We're friends. You need pictures. I want to draw them." And he sat down with me, and I think 30 minutes we came out with entirely like the art style, how he wants to do it. And right now, I'm just literally in the last couple pages of writing it, and it's almost done, and then I'm going to kick it over to him, and hopefully we'll see it then. But I'm not stopping, guys. Like, I'm doing the whole master's degree thing, the writing, the podcasting. Like, this really is life for me.
Oh, we're happy to have you here, and
we're stoked that you're here.
To definitely
show your art and stuff like that, and actually be like, hey, you're part of this, and show it off left and right.
Right. And you guys have read, like, honestly, a lot of new life into me and a lot of the things that I do, because I see what you guys are doing, how much you enjoy it, how much you love it, and getting to be a part of that really helps me a lot, because this is the first place in a long time where I've really felt like this is home. There's not, like, there's no guessing game. I know where I stand, I know what's going on, I'm comfortable, I love it.
We have a lot of the same beginnings, because Odd Mother started before the pandemic. What, about a year and a half, 2 years before, I want to say? A couple years before? We started...
I can't remember. When did I start? Oh my gosh. I've been doing some of this for about 5 years.
We started about a year after, I think, you guys, and that was
Yeah, something like that. Year and a half, something like that. Yeah.
Everything really like came together for us and started saying, for us was during the pandemic was it literally just everything opened up then because we were like, okay, I have for my old job, I have extra days off. So why don't we start just doing live feeds on Facebook? Well, I was already watching stuff on Psycho Bunny Death Cult. I was watching Mother de la Mort here a lot and the Scunt. Not to bring her up, but and then like it ended up that's when it was like, hey, you guys want to come over here and do this stuff? And then like, well, it kind of went from doing live feeds on our phone to going, okay, maybe we should actually really take this seriously and actually look into this. And especially at the time we took a break during the summer in 2021, wasn't it, or something like that, or 2020?
Something.
And 2020. We were all three of us were constantly brainstorming, and I was like, what we're gonna do when we come back, what we're gonna do this here is, and I was like, you know what, we need to get a real PC, we need to get a real monitor here and stuff like that, and actually look into actual streaming and see what we're doing with intros and stuff like that, outros, and actually have something serious going on here. And that's where it came in for us, and actually pushing forward to actually do this,
Oh yeah, and like for me, it's odd because I come from a radio background. I went to broadcasting school. I was on the radio in college, professional radio, different markets. And I took a break from that, and I had this old friend of mine that was like, listen, dude, we need to do a podcast. And I didn't even know what a podcast was yet at that point in time. Like, I had gotten so far as to knowing what XM radio was, and I barely knew that at the time. And he taught me into it, and we ended up growing that into the Twisted Geekdom Podcast Network for a little while, where we had all kinds of interesting things going on, and then he couldn't continue with it, and I couldn't do it on my own. I gave it up, and I've been trying to jump back into podcasting and streaming since then. And there's been a lot of false starts, a lot of cool people. I mean, I've worked with some awesome people, just nothing that's like really been solid until now. So I'm getting to get back to my roots and use everything I know about audio video broadcasting with you guys in a way that engages me that I haven't been able to do, and I get to also combine my storytelling with that thanks to you guys with that new show I'm going to be doing with you guys, my friend Dell, my sister Dell. That's literally all about telling stories to each other, like urban legends, stories that I've just made up or one that I've heard from someone. And that's my big passion, really, is live storytelling, where you get to connect with people. And I think that's something that we have a lack of again. That COVID time, is as great as it was for all of us artistically, a lot of us, disconnected from the world and everyone in it. So when we get the chance to sit down and talk like this or tell stories or whatever it is, it's important because that's the humanity side of things that kind of died off the last couple of years that we want to bring back. And
yeah, exactly.
Well, and it's all about moving forward. You know what I'm saying? Nothing is going to fall in your lap. You have to work for it. And anybody that thinks it's going to fall in your lap is not going to get very far, honestly.
Yeah, the worst thing you're going to hear is the word no. And if you haven't heard that 2,000 times and it still bothers you, then this is probably, none of these industries are the industry for you.
Exactly.
Right?
That's the worst thing. So, but I did want to say, I know we're getting ready to go. I know we're over our time, but if you guys don't mind, I would like to sponsor the next podcast, because I'd like to go a little bit further with what we're talking about and get into the possibility of a international child trafficking.
Yeah.
I was going to actually.
I think that's where we were leading, and then after that was Diana.
I was gonna bring up. I know I've been the last few have been like, okay, we're doing this, but I was like,
we have another podcast we have to do, right?
Okay.
The horror one.
We have a lot of stuff we have to do.
So many podcasts.
I was saying, like, I would love for someone else to take the reins right now and just have me on the
side. And our conversations, this topic is kind of what opened this up. And so everybody out there, and everybody here, I came across a lot of this information, and I just found this particular podcast really, really interesting. And go check out The Clown and the Candyman. It's by a Jacqueline Bynum. I believe she's a journalist. It's very well thought out. It's very well researched. I think it's an 8-part series talking about a lot of this stuff. And So there's a whole lot of backstory that I don't want to cover because that's her stuff, but just kind of the high points I wanted to hit on that I found extremely interesting and extremely connective to what we're talking about right now.
Nice.
So I'd like to get into that a little bit next time.
Well,
yeah.
I'll say this: tag, you're it. There you go.
Yeah.
I am 100%. Because I'll say this: Dean Coral, Gacy, Henry Lee Lucas are 3 people I have actually done.
Well, Gacy will come into this.
Dun, dun,
There's
dun.
a lot on them that connects them to a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and speaking of tagging in, like, for the Ally podcast, I really want you guys to be on it. Like, and that's that you can tag me in for that. I'll take charge. I was planning to anyway. The thing for me is, like, we all tell a lot of stories anyway, and the only person I'm missing right now is my sister Dell. And I figure, like, I'm telling you, dude, the 5 of us together doing that, it's going to be insane, and it'll lean more towards horror more often than not. But I mean, we all get affected by squirrels on a daily basis. We're gonna get off topic. We're gonna talk, have a good time. But I just want you guys to be able to relax for a change and just not have to, worry about everything so much. And it's sort of my gift to you guys for bringing me on. I want to do something for you guys too. So
love it. I love it.
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited.
should I say that loud?
What?
Kyle has to pee. Where's Tyler?
Have you noticed that's what ends every episode? Like every episode is.
I think that ends every podcast.
Internally.
That ends every podcast, no matter what. I have to pee 5 hours in.
I'm gonna get you the same diaper that astronaut lady used when she went to go kill her boyfriend or whatever. That she just, Yeah.
It's like our egg timer. Our egg timer.
Well, I am going to let you end this because if it's not going to end, I'm going to piss on the floor.
We are ending this right now.
And I'm spent.
So next Thursday is Odd Mother. We are going to be tackling her topic with the connection between
next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Yes, next Thursday.
So wait, Raz, are you doing yours? Are we doing?
Yeah. This coming Thursday will be that. So I'm going to alternate.
Yeah. So basically, what's going to start happening is, guys, we're gonna start alternating Thursdays because we are on every other Thursday, and then Raz and his show is going to be, what is it called again? I'm sorry, buddy.
The Al White Podcast.
The Al White Podcast will be on next Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
After that will be You Can't Sit With Us. And we didn't even bring it up. Would we have sat with them?
Oh, fuck them.
No.
I would like go in the room and pretend to, but then steal the credit card and leave. That's where I'm at with that,
Not
to go deep into this. I mean, I would sit with Jeffrey Dahmer, but I wouldn't sit with Epstein. And
agreed.
No. Go punch with karate.
And I'm pretty sure Dahmer would find me gorgeous.
Sweep the leg, Johnny.
All right, guys. We are out of here. We're done. And we will see you next Thursday for the Ally Podcast, and the Thursday after that for You Can't Sit With Us. You Can't Sit With Us again. All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Suck it.
I don't know that the world I don't know